Mr. Irvin, part of the behavior staff. One of the questions I had in particular, and I can actually see ESB only because Mr. Ortiz let me log in and to help, because it was for attendance purposes. I used to always run to Mr. Ortiz and ask him, make sure students were in the right class, and he's like, "Look, just here's my login, so you don't have to walk all the way down here and find them." One question we had was in regards to, I think it was a field that said, are the overall, are they, it had something to do with their overall performance. And then and the question we had was like, well, if they have like 5 teachers, how is that calculated? But then I went into ESB and I do see that it is an overall rating. So, and it gives a percentage. I guess we just need to know what's the benchmark for the percentage as to, hey, students at 70%, he's overall good or on track. I think was the term, on track or off track. So what's that benchmark? Is it 70, 75, 80?
Yeah, so it's important to note that this has only been implemented at Englewood, and even at Englewood, it has not been fully adopted. It has been like pulling nails to get all the staff to really buy into this. So we're still testing this out and making changes. As far as what benchmark is going to be on track versus behind, that's kind of up to you guys. What do you think is a fair benchmark for your students? And what do you guys think is important to look at on deciding whether a student is on track or behind? Because maybe they have completed all their assignments, but they're failing their class still. Maybe they just haven't done any of their assignments yet. So you guys kind of have to look at all the different variables and decide what you think is fair for the students, and then just communicate that to your staff as, this is what we mean when we say on track. This is what we mean when we say behind.
Okay. Yeah, that was really one of the main questions. Ms. Vega, who just jumped on, she had answered the other questions we had in another call we just got off of. But Ms. Vega, he said as far as we could get ESB access, Mr. Applegate said we could get ESB access if we'd have to be added into Twine and have our profile changed to a guidance counselor. Correct, Mr. Applegate?
Yeah. So when you're added on Twine, you're added as a user and you're automatically made a teacher. But if you go to ESB, and then they go to the staff. I'm just doing it on my computer. Why don't I share my screen?
Okay.
All right. Can you see my screen now? So here I'm in Englewood staff page. Go to a specific staff member. So I'm going to go to myself. And then click on information. And we can see user type. So I'm district IT, but teacher is one of these user types. And you just change it to guidance or even administrator, and you'll gain access to all of the students in your school.
Okay.
Awesome.
And just click save.
So we have to get our profile added to Twine first, and then does it automatically transfer to ESB?
Every 2 hours. So on odd hours. So 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., it transfers into ESB. And then somebody's got to go into ESB and change your permission level from teacher to guidance.
Okay.
Got it.
And that should give you access to all the students. And then here, let me share my screen again. I'll exit it out. Then once you're in, you'll get a view like this. Except this is Englewood. Actually, let me just jump over to Southwest for you guys. So you'll get a view like this. And on the right side, you can see 115 students. You click on that. And on the far right side, you can see the last time a student has logged in. So last active, we can see here the student's 9 weeks ago, the student's 7 hours ago. We click on a student. We can see their current grades in the classes. Looks like the student has been turning in their assignments. You can print a progress report real quick. So I click progress report, and it's going to show their current grade in all the classes. If you click into their class, you can see this class view. So what's going on in that class. Let me go back. I click in my work, so you can see any assignments that this student has done. So we're looking right now at Kanisha. I'm going to say Miss Archie. Miss Archie's assignments. She has all of these overdue assignments, so you can look in here and see what was due, when it was due, and when the upcoming assignments are going to be due.
Okay.
And then
go ahead.
One more thing I just remembered from seeing your notes about this is I think you're also asking about the benchmarks of like how many times should we be reaching out to the students?
Yes.
I created these as 0 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 plus. Just, that was me assuming that would be good. Red is 0 to 1, yellow is 2 to 3, green is 4 plus. But we can change that. If you guys think, if a student is contacted 3 times a week, that's ideal, then I can change that to green. It's up to you guys on what you want to set as the benchmarks and how many times you think a student should be contacted each week.
Because we're behavioral staff and we normally just make a contact. We contact them at least twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just change the color code? Because it make it seem like that we're not contacted.
No, that's completely fine. So maybe I'll do 0 is red, 1 is yellow, 2 plus is green.
Okay.
That's why I was glad y'all came in this call, because y'all had some serious concerns. I got a few. I want to make sure I address the other questions, but let me know when I should speak, because there's questions they had that I want to get to with Colin, and I want to make sure everything y'all asked me is addressed.
Okay. Another question was the comm log.
Yep.
Are you going to give us access to the other form?
To help you out, that's the form I was talking about, Vega, and the question.
Go ahead, Mr. Tyler. I can't think.
Yeah, so it's like, Colin, you had a great way. We have a form similar to what you did for the comm log, and it's called norms and fractions. I'm asking I don't know if it's more work on your end, but could you do that for the staff in terms of generating or auto-populating responses from a form into, like you do comm log, but for the ratings? Because I think that's going to be tedious for them to click on the right selections. Just yes or no if that's easy to do or not. Because I know that was a concern that they have to go in and, with so many students, click and select all the different categories. Is there a way to make a form for that where it auto-populates like you did for the comm log? That was my question. And I think Vegas addressing it in such a way.
Take all of these, you're saying, and make this a form?
Like questions that they normally ask. Because the thing is, to get that information, they're going to ask teachers, and on their their routine calls, those same categories of questions. And then my other question that piggybacks off of that is, what is the frequency that you see most schools do this? Like, was it on Wednesdays when this was due, or was this a daily thing?
Yeah. Okay, on the first part of taking this stuff and making it a form, that is possible. However, the reason I set it up like this is that so we can see the progression of a student on a week-by-week basis. If we were to do a form, it'd be incredibly, incredibly difficult for me to provide you that week-by-week overview. Instead, it would look like the comm log, where it's just going to be a long list that you have to scroll down. It's not going to be organized by student. It's just going to be whenever the last rating was done, that's there.
That's fine. I was just asking to see what you thought. It's not like I'm saying, hey, dude, do this. No, but that was a question that came up in our conversation.
Sticking with these and just sticking with the drop boxes, just because it does provide you that week by week overview so you can see what's how students progressing over the course of the quarter. Your second question, can you remind me again of it?
So the second question is just from your experience, what have you seen other schools do, I guess?
Yeah, so Inglewood is the only school that
I seen you made the forms for other schools when I clicked
I
on
made
that.
it preemptively and
Okay.
told Kevin I've got them when they're ready. And he said, just hold on and he'll tell me when to go. And he just told me.
We're being tested out first, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the Inglewood's the only one that's doing that. That's a good starting point for the data. What was their routine for entering the data? I remember you mentioned this to me before you revealed this to the staff. Like, how did they fill that out? Like, what was the time schedule? Did like the teachers and behavioral support contribute to this, or was it just behavior support? Was it teachers? How did that work?
It's just behavior. So each student is, or each behavior staff is assigned a group of students, and they're responsible for filling out for those students. And
why I asked for the SB access? It's gonna be tough to do that without that.
Yeah, so they all have EDSB access. And then they're given a group of students. They're responsible for filling out the ratings logs for each of those students. ComLog is just a continuous thing. So you should be filling out the ComLog 5 days a week. You know, whenever you're
we do. We have a Google sheet. We showed you that, I think, when you came to my classroom. It's pretty simple, but this is more detailed, and I guess it works. But now I'm understanding what you're doing. It's replacing some of our routines with what Inglewood was doing, I guess.
Yeah.
To lack of an explanation.
And it's been hard to implement this at Inglewood, to be honest. Just getting people to change their behaviors. A lot of people prefer just typing directly into a spreadsheet their responses because they think it's easier.
It's a learning curve. Yeah, I agree.
Which it is kind of easier, but it has its downsides. You know, everybody types in their own format. There's a lot of typos. Some people put last name, then first name. Some people put first name, then last name.
So compliance and uniformity, yeah.
Yeah, so creating this uniformity makes it a lot easier to do reports from. So like we're too early at the point for me to do any sort of significant report, but once we get a lot of information in here, I can do what's called a pivot table, and it will aggregate all of these numbers for us. So I can do a row.
That's what I told them earlier, Colin. I told them we don't have enough data at this point to see its true purpose, but I think he's on the right path. I just didn't know how you were implementing it. And then now talking to you, I understand better. The two staff members that did come that had the most to say, y'all got any questions? I think he helped me out, but I don't know if y'all got something to say.
So I'm okay with it now, because right now I see that you have the ComLog at the bottom, so it shows the the information that we put in is on another sheet and it's generated. So I see that, and that I'm okay. I'm okay now, because that was my concern. I wanted to actually see the documentation, the input on the ComLog, and it's right there on the Southwest rating. I didn't see that at first, so.
And yeah, it makes complete sense to me.
Yes.
So I understand the ComLog is used daily, and the ratings board is to aggregate information and progression and the track. And so as a staff or a school, we need to kind of figure out how we're going to segment student population, and then also the behavior staff needs to have like yesterday in order for us to be effective.
So the ratings are definitely for behavioral support. It seems like ComLog is for everybody. Am I understanding that correctly, Colin?
Yeah, anybody should be using the ComLog.
The ComLog. That's just data that we routinely would gather to make sure we collaborate. But the ratings is for behavioral support, which sounds correct. But I was just wondering how they was going to get that data instead of just hounding down all the teachers. And you know, our schedules are different. So if they had access, they can do their own research and input that. So by the time, say, Wednesday, because I think this is what's replacing our I hate to say it, but we just make a spreadsheet and we rate them. And that's usually processed kind of late. So this seems a lot more, I don't know, clinical from Mr. Applegate's side. But I just wanted to understand how we're supposed to roll it out, because I got to do the same explanation to teachers probably later on tonight.
And you brought up a good point about which day of the week you should be doing this. At Inglewood, they're still doing it on Wednesday, but I don't think Wednesday actually makes sense.
That's a Camelot model, I know, but that's going to, I don't know, maybe you could talk to them, Colin. I'm not sure.
In my mind, it would just make a lot more sense to have everybody have to fill out their ratings board on Friday and then have a Monday meeting to discuss the previous week.
Yeah, that's a great idea. If you could push that in the email or something, but I don't know. I mean, that's better because you have it in advance to make your adjustments and changes.
Yeah.
But I usually get like Ms. Vega or Mr. Irv, you chime in, and we get our ratings updates. What, maybe Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then overnight you have to complete it. So
Yes.
I think Colin's saying Friday. That's more enough time to get your thoughts out. But we try to do Wednesday to Wednesday, so I think that's going to be the pushback, Colin.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you want to do Wednesday, I guess that just means, all the ratings boards are completed on Tuesday, and then Wednesday you just spend time reviewing the ratings board.
We're back to that learning curve. Okay, I got you.
Mr. Tyler, you may be able to answer. So, do you know, or Ms. Vega, do you know, are we planning to convene as a staff and go over the ratings board? Is that the goal for us?
That would be a good idea, but I'm not on behavioral support, so I don't know what y'all logistics are like. Academic and behavioral, we don't really. Y'all got your own chat line right there. Maybe that's the question that y'all should put to administration. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'll follow up with Mr. Banky regarding ratings.
Yeah. Okay. At Inglewood, they have weekly team meetings where the entire floors will get together and go over the ratings board together.
So uniformity. I'm pretty sure Mr. Sweet wouldn't like that.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So I'll get those changes on the number of comms going today. I'll have that done by the end of the day today. Is there anything else you guys want to?
That's up to you. I have nothing else. It's up to the two staff members that I need to come. I kind of, if y'all got questions, y'all need to ask them now because tonight I'm gonna try to reach out to the teachers. I got Colin here, and I know he's only here for a limited time, so ask him now.
I don't need to take up any more of Mr. Applegate's time. I appreciate it.
No worries.
I'm done. So thank you.
Yep. No worries, guys. Feel free to reach out if you have any more questions.
All right, thank you. I got a question for you, Colin. What are your office hours like? What is that for? I saw it on your calendar.
Oh, I've been doing it just at Inglewood, but I could do it at your guys' school as well. But I just
I roll it out and I got questions for you. Is that the time to do that, or is that not the time?
No, that's for EDSB specific. So that's for teachers asking for questions about stuff for EDSB. But if it's regarding this kind of stuff, I'd prefer to have that in another meeting.
Okay. All right. So I'll just reach out to you if it comes up, case by case. All right. Thanks everyone for coming in.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Y'all take it easy.
Okay.